All right, Akira, firstly, when you were a kid on the island, right, in terms of
Mhm.
growing up, were sports something part of your life when you were very young? Was it always track and field? Did you try any other sports at all growing up?
Yes, I did. Back in primary school, I think most athletes do this. It's a case where you normally do track and also do volleyball. Well, not volleyball, sorry. That's not it. Can we start over?
That's fine, no problem.
Um, uh, Back in primary school, I think most athletes did this. We normally play netball as well as track because they're like two different seasons. So yes, I did play netball.
Okay. And how were you playing netball? Were you, still had the pace, how fast you were then, or was it more, your coordination with your hand movement and stuff?
I feel like netball, like it basically help with like your quickness and like being aware because you have to have the ball for like 3 seconds and then you have to like find somebody else and then there's like different moves that you have to make and then you have to remember those moves because like you can have to give the other opponent the ball because you be like stepping or stuff like that. So I feel like that helped with a level of like awareness and quickness.
Okay, cool. And the opportunity, well, before that, which primary school was that?
I used to go to the Holy Rosie Primary School.
Okay, all right, very nice. And the opportunity to go to Excelsior, how did that come about?
I was recruited by Coach Russell back then, and I wasn't really sure how tracks was. Because in primary school I wasn't really taking it that serious because this is funny because I hated tracks, and my primary school coach, it was a case where there was this one time when I was in like the fifth grade. I used to hide to go home, and then one afternoon he waited on me outside the gate, and I did get an ass whooping for trying to go home. But then after that, I basically built a love for track, and then I realized I was actually really good at it.
Okay, very good. And in relation to the hurdles now, when was that introduced to your life?
It was introduced to me in like seventh to eighth grade, but like I was scared at first, and I don't know if you know that my knees are like knocked, so it's like I couldn't do certain drills. So it was like I used to have been sent home for that, and it was like I have to work a little bit harder to like get this right. So I did work a little bit harder. There was a couple falls, there was a couple bruises, but I feel like after like the year progresses, I got a little better because I was really good at track. I was okay, but I wasn't great.
Okay, all right. And like for you at Excelsior, would you say the focus was only track and field? I mean, you spoke about netball in primary school, but you didn't do netball in high school, right?
No, it was only about track because track took up so many of your time. It's like you don't have time to do anything else. So it's like after school, you have like 30 minutes to 45 minutes to get ready, and then it's practice, and then you're there until like 3:30 to like 6, 7. So it's like I didn't have time to go about doing anything else. And it's just like track season is so long because it starts from like fall, which is called background training back in Jamaica, to all the way to like August and September, depending on like what national team you make or like what championship you're trying to go to.
And I'm sure you know the history of Excelsior and the athletes that they produced and everything. What was the secret in terms of you being there, the training that you got to be able to make the progress that you made, and others as well, making the transition as well, just like you.
I feel like Excelsior really do value us as person, and like they take the time. Well, the coaches that I've experienced have take the time out to like listen and find the necessary things that I need to make corrections to like my foot structure and stuff. But for me, it wasn't just like practice alone, just practicing at school only. It was like I had to try and do extra stuff on my own because I know like I'm not the best and I'm not the great, and it's like I have to put in the hard work to get where I am. So it's like I have to work like two times twice older girls than me, faster girls than me. So it's just like it was just training there and then me trying to do a little stuff on my own to make like correction to like how I drill, how I run, and all the extra stuff.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about your champs journey now. Tell me about it. Was it the class 4 70-meter hurdles? What was your first experience like of champs, the fans, the excitement, just being in that atmosphere?
I'm really not big on crowd, and I'm really not big on excitement. It's something that makes me like a bit anxious and like nervous. So I feel like in class 4 it was just like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? I haven't seen this much crowd. and stuff like that. So I feel like for class four for me, it was just fun. It was just a learning experience. So it wasn't really that serious in class four, to be honest. It was just a learning process for me.
Yeah, and when you got through the classes, class three and then eventually class two, what was the experience like, year after year coming back to jams? Did it feel like routine or you felt like there was something every year that, you had to take from each experience?
It was a routine, and I just feel like every year is like I have to take something from it. So it was like as the years go by, I had a competitor. Her name was it's Crystal Morrison, and back then it was just me and her back and forth, and it was just like it's okay. And then after the year go by, I feel like all that my coach was trying to get me to do, I think I eventually put it all together in the end. And then I just kept on doing it, kept on working on it, and then like it just came together, and then from there everything just kept getting better.
And tell me about the experience, 1 year in class two, just outside of the medals, and then next year winning it all, the euphoria, the excitement, being able to accomplish that.
I think I'm the type of person that I'm very determined, and I'm like I do always want to push myself for better, and I'm like if I can come fourth, I can come third. If I can come third, I can come second. It's just basically all me believing in myself, and not just only believing in myself and slacking off. It's believing in myself. Going back to where I went wrong, using track meets to like work on the parts where went wrong, and then just like putting it all together and just see if when I put it all together it will work, but you don't always get it right. So it's just like, yeah, it's there, but it's not fully there. So you just have to work on like that process.
And the year that, COVID came to Jamaica 2020, that would have been your first year class one. Is that so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, of course, we know how all of that, sort of transpired. How disappointed was it for you, or you looked at it as, well, it gave me a year to focus on things that were ahead of me, college life and representing my country and everything.
For me, I actually didn't want to go to class one, to be honest, because it was a case where I was like, champs is there's not a lot of athletes there anymore. There's not a lot of excitement there anymore. And I was like trying to come back. There's like a shift in energy when it comes on to the fans. There's a shift in energy when it comes on to the training. So it's just like I won't be able to get the full benefit of like training, the full benefit of what I'm used to. So I'm like, it's time for me to try and move forward to make betterment for myself, to like push myself because it's like class one is me basically competing with older athletes that are like way older than me. Class one is basically me competing for like senior team. So I was basically like going to champs really don't make any sense. And it's like something that is just points given, like with school is better than with school. And I'm like, I want more for myself, even though this was a part of my development. I just feel like it's time for me to take a step back from that and just like make a jump.
And I mean, reflecting on all your experiences at Champs, would you say that it helped prepare you for life in the States, in college, representing your country, developing your craft? Would you say Champs helped you?
Yes. Champs helped me a lot because even now here is like I'm competing with girls that are way older than I am, and it's just like each class is you're probably in class two, but you have a girl that's like 2 years older than you, you have a girl that's like 1 year older than you, and like now here you have girls that are like 5 years older than you, 4 years older than you, 3 years older than you, just like and then like for the crowd, it's not as big as champs. Unlike when you go to outdoor nationals, it's okay, but it's still not as big and impactful as champs. But I feel like going to champs has helped me with my nerves, being able to compete with girls that are older than me. Just like they're just as good as I am, and they're probably even better. But I'm like I'm not far away from there. So it's just like it all comes down to the day. And it just all come down to who's a better hurdler, who's a better sprinter. And I was just like, it's you against the hurdles and the gun, so just go.
Yeah, indeed. And tell me about the experience you had over in Kenya, winning the goal in the 100 hurdles as well. What was that experience like for you? There was a lot of drama, of course, everybody dropping like flies in that final, but you're focused, you had your blinkers on, and you just went to the line and caught the gold.
I wasn't really in the best of shape going to Kenya, but it was a case where I was like, it is what it is, and it's like it's an experience, and I'm like, it's my last year as a junior, so whatever the result is, the result is. My time is coming. I just need to be patient, and I just feel like having the experience being in the college life and seeing stuff like this happening and encounter these like meets after meets is just like you got to focus on your lane as long as your hurdle isn't impeded, as long as your lane isn't impeded. You just got to stay focused, stay locked in, and just get your foot down and just it would all come together.
All right. And in terms of this year, 2023 year, this season, what are some of the goals that you have in mind? What are the things you want to accomplish this year?
I've already accomplished one of my goals, well, two of my goals actually, and that's from 7-7. That was always a goal since last year. And didn't know I'll get a collegiate record, but that always been a goal. And I feel like going on the Bowerman list has always been a goal for me. Like when I first came to college, 18, I was like young. So it was just like always a little goal. But I feel like the goals that I've set for myself, I'm going in the right direction with like coaching wise, training wise, treatment and everything. And I feel like my goals are something that I keep to myself. It's something personal, but I do see them and I do speak on them, but not like speak on them in public because I'm not the type of person to say something and then like not do it. And then you can't just throw times out there because at the end of the day, you probably not receive that time. And knowing how the world is when it comes on to athletes, you got to be very careful because it's like hypocritical. And if you're not strong enough, it's just like, it's a case where it just affects you mentally. And I'm like trying to stay on a straight mental path and just focus on the things that I can control.
All right. And finally, Ackera, what advice would you give to those who will be competing at champs this year as well? Advice that you'd give to them ahead of the 5-day championship?
Well, guys, it is what it is, and champs is something fun, and you know that you have put in the work and you have compete against these people over and over. It's just like you just got to stay focused. You got to make sure you do everything you need to do. You have to stay hydrated. You have to listen to your coach. Don't go to the meet and do nothing extra because there's somebody who irritates you or like you're afraid of them. It's just like at the end of the day, it just all matters at the line. And you just go out there, you just execute the right way possible. Don't go out there and panic and do nothing out the way to get hurt. Just make sure you're focused on yourself, focused on your lane, and do what you do best, and that is competing. Y'all are great athletes, and I can't wait to see the times that you guys produce.
Well said. Ackera, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Keep up the great work. All the best for the season, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you. Thank you.
All righty. Have a great day.